I had a debate with a friend recently about the spirituality of relationships. And quickly, I was told, and I had to agree, that relationships in and of itself have so much mess in it that it's hard, and it was hard for this person to see the spirituality of relationships. I mean, she mentioned things like pornography, strip clubs. She mentioned all kinds of relationships, including men with men, women with women. She even didn't even leave the church out about how even in the church you have infidelity, you have adultery, you have just straight lust going on in the church as well as outside the church. And so she was convinced that there's nothing spiritual about relationships. Well, I beg to differ. And what I pointed out is not so much that what people do that makes relationships spiritual. It's the component that exists within the context of us that makes relationships spiritual. Like anything else, it's what you do that defines you. But there were three things I pointed out that I want to share, take a moment to share today. One is attraction. Two is reason. Three is choice. Those three things were gifts of God. And that is why I deem relationships, having the core of relationships, being founded on a spiritual level. Attraction came from God. Why do we have certain attractions within us? Those things cannot be explained. Two people could look at the same person. One could be highly attracted to that person. The other one could be turned off. Go figure. That's matters of the heart. We're unique in that way. That's not something that everyone has the same proclivity to deal with. And if I was to go Bible, even the Bible seems to indicate that the attraction in and of itself is something that God gives us, but it's not something that in and of itself can be positive. In fact, he says the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? So when you think of attraction in that way, why are we attracted to things that hurt us? No one has the answer. It just is. And sometimes we, in the context of dating, deal with people we shouldn't be with. But we're attracted to that person. We don't know how to handle that. That brings us to the second spiritual component, which is reason. The Bible also tells us to test all things and to hold fast to that which is good. Now, yeah, the context could be in the form of scripture and teaching and all that, but I also see it in a very basic principle of how God created us. And that is he gave us a mind to reason. And he tells us to test it, to see if that's good for us. Not just to go with how we feel, but to use our mind to reason and to think. And finally, choice. Obviously, God could have created us as all robots and we would have all done everything perfectly. But he didn't want that for us. He wanted to give us the reason to choose, or the ability to choose. And that's free moral choice. And a lot of times we make bad choices. And in part because we don't have that relationship with him to understand the right choices to make. But if we can get those three things lined up, then we can have what God intended us to have. And that is a wholesome, beautiful, loving relationship with the person that is just perfect for us. Just wanted to share that, part of a debate I had. Wanted you to understand that that's what Couples Corner is about. Bringing things to surface, to explain things, to help us understand ourselves so that we too can have a great, great relationship. This is Wayne with Couples Corner.